Hi, this is Peter Sage, and I've got a profound question for you. When was the last time you tried to change a behavior, a habit, or even a circumstance in your life by trying to change what you were doing before you changed how you were thinking? Now, that's the trap that keeps many people on the same hamster wheel. What do I mean by that? Well, let me share a quick story with you. Many years ago, there was a tribe of village people, and they were trying to select who was going to be the next chief warrior. So they devised a test, and on the hill next door to the village, there was a big boulder. So the elder says, I know, what we'll do is we'll get all of the warriors to go to the hill and try and move the boulder, and whoever manages to move it, we will crown the chief warrior. So all of the warriors got there, and they're all limbering up, and the first guy stepped forward, and he grabbed hold of this boulder, and he heaved, but it didn't move. And one by one, all of the warriors kept coming up and trying to move the boulder, but nothing would move. And then eventually, over the crest of the hill, came one of the village elders, a frail old man who'd been walking up the hill all morning with his stick. And he approached the warrior and says, permit me to try. And they all looked at him and said, are you kidding? Look at you, this is a warrior's task. But they wanted some entertainment, so they said, well, why not? There's nobody else. And so the frail old man looked around, and he found a small stone. And he picked up the small stone, and he walked next to the boulder, and he put it down next to the boulder. And he got his stick that he'd walked up the hill with, and he put it into the gap between the two stones, and he pushed down. And he leveraged his strength, and the boulder moved. And everybody applauded his phenomenal feat. Wow. Now, the reason I tell that is because so many of us are trying to get better at doing the same things in order to move our life forward. So we can't quite move the boulder. So we go to the gym and think, if I build my arms even bigger, then I'll be able to do it. But that isn't the best strategy. We need to come from a different angle. We need to think differently to allow us to take the shortcuts to apply pressure at the right part, to then create magic that everybody else looks at and goes, wow, how did you do that? Now that doesn't come from doing the same things or doing the same behaviors. It comes from a different place. And that place is the one place I've spent so long studying and looking at. And it's the place of inspiration, not motivation, not trying to get better at doing the same things, not trying saying, well, I've got so much on in my business that I will need to go and learn time management to get better at doing the same things. No, you can't manage 5 minutes better and get 6 minutes. Time doesn't work that way. Yeah, you can't turn around and say, well, I need to figure out better ways of being able to organize my life and just try and be more efficient at doing the same stuff. It doesn't work that way. We need to think differently, and those types of thinking come through being inspired. And my friends, I'll tell you outright, there are only 2 types of people on this planet. I don't care if they're in corporations, I don't care if they're in businesses, I don't care if they're in sports teams. There are those who are inspired and there are those who are not. Case closed. And you can very easily spot the difference. If you see somebody who's inspired, there's an energy difference about them. They're up to something. They're on purpose with something. When was the last time you felt that spark? When was the last time you got excited? That you woke up 20 minutes before the alarm went off and sprung out of bed to get going with what it was you were focused on? That doesn't happen for most people. Most people play the snooze button hokey cokey because they just say, oh no, not again. Because they're tired of just trying to keep building the arms and not having the boulder move. So how do you become inspired? That's the $64 million question. Well, a lot of you have heard my work, have heard me talk about the power of upgrading your peer group, about becoming who you hang with, about surrounding yourself with inspired people. You hang out with 10 inspired people that are up to something, you become the 11th. You hang around with 10 people who are complaining about the weather, work, the economy, and everything else, you pretty much become the 11th. That's the power of peer group. Now, it also starts with one person. Now, for some people say, well, how do I upgrade my peer group? Now, how do I go find these people? Well, if you become somebody who's on purpose with something, find out what it is that inspires you. You'll find somebody else or team up with a buddy. Call a friend who's also a little dissatisfied with where they are in life right now, which is most people these days, and say, listen, I want to make this year different. Would you be my accountability partner? Would you work with me so that we can hold each other accountable, inspire each other to a higher standard? And you'd be amazed at what happens. That's when 1 + 1 becomes 11. Now that's when the alarm goes off at night, or in the morning at, let's say, 5:30, and you're meant to go to the gym, and rather than do that snooze button pattern that we talked about earlier, you get a text message from your buddy saying, hey, I'm up, I'll be at the gym in 30 minutes, see you there. And then magic happens. Now, that's why we hire personal trainers in the gym. A personal trainer doesn't teach you anything new. There's not 15 different ways to be able to do press-ups that you don't know about. No, a personal trainer simply holds you accountable to do the things you already know. That's why we pay a premium, because we know it gets results. Now, if you have the ability to go get an accountability partner, a buddy, a mentor, or a coach, then outstanding. That is the way that you can start leveraging and making this year different. Now, if those that haven't seen my video on mentorship that I put out last week, I had some huge feedback on there. Please go watch that, because I also give the difference between advice and opinion and how to tell the difference. I also had a lot of feedback from people asking me, do I do personal mentorship? Well, yes and no. I do have a very private program that I run called the Elite Mentorship Program, but it is invitation only because my time is limited and I only work with very small numbers of people. Now, if that's something you feel you'd like to be considered as an invitation for, then simply send me an email at happytohelp@petersage.com and I'll gladly send you some information. For those that thinking that may not be for them right now, then I'm also putting together a 6-week program called Reinvent Your Life, where I take you step by step in the comfort of your own home by teleseminar, webinar, and homework that I can give you with and guide you through that allows you to go through the steps that a high-level coach and mentor would be able to take you through at your own pace, that'll give you the strategies that'll allow you to make the changes required so that this year transforms for you. To be able to have the ability to put yourself in a state of so much certainty you feel invincible, knowing the next move is in alignment with your truth and you get things done. Being able to form the habits that allow you to walk your truth in a way that everybody else says, wow, he or she is up to something. What's happened? So I've got a program that prepares you all for that and guides you through step by step to be able to reinvent every aspect of your life, your health, your relationships, your levels of certainty around every part of what you do, so that in 6 weeks later, your circumstances will dramatically shift. Now, for those that, again, that isn't for them, no big deal. I want to give you some tips that you can go and use today, right now, that'll make a difference for you this year. One of the first things I'd suggest is, now let's just talk about the 2 things most people obsess over more than anything else. That's our time and our money. Now, there's only 2 things you can do with your time and your money when you look at it from a high-level mentorship perspective. And that is, you can invest it in either shovels or ice cream. What do you mean by that, Pete? Well, let me explain. You see, ice cream is something that tastes good, it gives instant gratification, and once it's gone, never to return. Whereas if you put your money into something like a shovel, that gives you a tool to be able to dig a stronger and some more solid foundation for your life. It'll always be something that gives a return on investment ongoing and adds value to where it is that you're heading. Let's take, for example, if you spend your money on a nice flashy car, as some of us have done in the past, realize very quickly that that's definitely ice cream, not shovels. Now, a car like that will depreciate faster than ice cream in the sun, even if you're not driving it. And once it's gone, it's gone. Whereas if you invest in self-education, for example, and put your money into levels of tuition in personal development that allow you to become a person of higher value, that will always pay a return on investment. Let's look at time. How do you invest your time? Same thing, shovels or ice cream. You see, if you sit down and put your time into watching the latest viral video that makes you laugh and makes you want to click share, it may give you some temporary instant gratification, a smile and a bit of a joke, but as soon as you click share, it doesn't add any intrinsic value to your life. It's gone. Whereas if you invest your time into, for example, watching a video like this, or watching TED in terms of inspiring yourself rather than watching television, then you start allocating your time into something that's going to give you an ROI far higher than watching Family Guy or Sex and the City. Now, there's nothing wrong with having some ice cream now and again. This isn't about being boring, but it's about managing your own levels of understanding about where you allocate that time. Too much ice cream, not enough shovels, you're going to run out of money to buy ice cream. Too much shovels and not enough ice cream, you're going to wonder why you're doing it. So there needs to be a balance, but it's where you hang out, not where you visit. Where are you hanging out right now? And where have you been visiting? And is it time to have somebody to help guide you or hold you accountable to say, hey, is that ice cream or is that shovels? You You see, the reason most people are fighting a losing battle is because consciously they are walking south towards their goal. My goal's heading south, so I'm heading south. But unconsciously, they're walking across the back like an ant walking across the back of an elephant that's walking north. So we kid ourselves thinking, oh, we're kind of doing the right actions, we're heading south, but all of the unconscious habits and behaviors that we've accumulated over time are the elephant walking north. And we wonder why we self-sabotage. Being able to take charge of that now and have somebody hold us accountable to that is key. So, that's one of my biggest tips for this year is, are you able to step up and make that decision? Ice cream or shovels? Are you able to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. This is my year. Go invest in a mentor. Go invest in a buddy. Go hold yourself accountable. If you want to come on board the Elite Mentorship Program, please send me an email. If you want to take part in our 6-week Reinvent Your Life Bootcamp, where I guarantee you a traumatic transformation, then please click the button below and I'll send you some details. For everybody else, please, remember you always have a choice, shovels or ice cream. I wish you the very best for this year, and I look forward to speaking soon.